So the other day I was reflecting on my life, and that's not always a good thing. That's not always a good thing. But what I noticed is that although I've always had lots of good people around me, good friends that I hung out with in all the different countries that I've lived in many different countries. I lived in the US, but that's not the only country I've lived in. I've lived in Europe and many other places. Italy, Switzerland, Scotland, England. So, lived in a bunch of different places. I don't know, my mind is not the best, so sometimes I forget. Maybe I missed something. Maybe I missed a few places, but I've been all over the world, including Japan, China, where else? Australia. I don't know. Just been all over the place. So, what I noticed was that although I've made so many different friends and met so many different people, and at some point I even had, I think it was like 4,000 friends on my Facebook, so probably must have met at least, somewhere close to, I don't know, 6,000 to 8,000 people overall over the course of my life. Be it just, somebody that you've met or just passed by at an airport or whatever it is. But my closest friends, even my closest friends that I spent like maybe years with hanging out, seem to disappear. And I know what you're thinking. You're just making up that you've got friends. You've never really had friends. Well, no, actually, I did have some really close friends in college, at university, and you guys probably don't know this, but I was at multiple universities, one in the UK and one in the US. So, when you travel that much, eventually you meet enough people. And when you go through different things in life, you end up getting close with people. But again, what I noticed is that it must have been because I'm just this pesky person. I don't know. After all, that's why I call myself that Pesky Marco Reviews, and there's a good reason for that. Apparently, it's just because I seem to grow attachment to people more than they to me. It's just something, I don't know, just something that works that way. So a lot of the people that I've met and hung out with in the past that were really close friends, I still think about today. And you know what else you're going to be thinking? You're thinking, well, you can't remember people's names like half of the time. How are you going to be remembering people? But no. I might forget their names, but their faces stay with me. And so, yeah, it's kind of interesting how in the past I spent a lot of time over and over and over making sure that I let people know how much I cared about them. And it's not about like calling at least like once a week or anything like that. Maybe even if it's yearly, like once a year, I would reach out to them and say stuff like, hey, how's it going? Or just come up with excuses, like even to say hello on a made-up holiday like Valentine's Day or Chocolate Day or whatever. Just because it's fun to hang out and just say hello to people. But then eventually what I realized is that it was only me. I was the only one who was really taking the time to say hello to all of my friends. And then when it was actually their turn to respond or whatever it was, they never really made the effort to ever contact me. So eventually I got bored, and so I don't really contact them anymore. But the other thing that I notice is it's because people love their phones, and so I'm not much of a phone person. I'm not much about picking up a phone and calling people over the phone. I'm much more of an email person or a chat kind of person. So I noticed that maybe that's why people don't contact me anymore. But anyway, those were my interesting or not interesting thoughts on the situation about friendship. And so, although I have lots and lots of people in my mind that I think about, even though I'd never get to see them or communicate with them, I'm pretty sure they've forgotten who I am. And that's not a big deal to me. I'm just going to make my face like that. But it doesn't really matter that much. It's just my thoughts on what it is to be a friend. And it's just interesting how things are, how fickle people can be, and how it's easy to forget people if you don't see them all the time, or they're not constantly blowing up your phone making calls. Anyway, those were my thoughts. I hope you find this interesting, and if you don't, that's fine too. See you soon. Take care.